Sup, gang? Sup, gang? So, today I am on Brian. That doesn't sound good. I am about to turn Brian off. That didn't sound good either. Basically, I'm going to take the forklift from here in there. We've got an owl in there by Tanya Russell, and I am going to actually strap him up and lift him onto the stainless steel frame that we've made for him. And the stainless steel frame is going to submerge into the ground, and the owl itself is on this little stainless steel plate, which will then just sort of sit on the surface. So come with me inside with Brian, and we'll go and strap the owl up. 3, 2, 1. Whee! It's denim! So, now the owl is on his base, we've got these 18mm stainless steel nuts. And this, the purpose of these is to, the purpose of these is to bolt him down. If I can get, I'm not fumbling all over the place. There we are, we're in. We're in. So these go on like so. And as you can see, it's slightly raised up by about 2 inches on these insert nuts. So we've got a 40x40 stainless steel subframe, and then obviously we've got this 12mm stainless steel plate, and inside is we've got this stainless steel armature that runs up this central column of the owl, and what it does, it just gives it that integral strength. So this base of the owl was made in about 4 different sections for us to be able to cast it easily, and we welded it together with, we slid it over the top of the armature and we welded it together, blended it all in, and every section we put on, we welded it to the stainless armature inside. So actually, this is super duper strong, although it looks very delicate and elegant and as if it's going to snap, but it's not, because we're savages. So I'm just going to spin this piece around for you. And look at that. That there is a barn owl by Tanya Russell. We've got 3 of these to do. This is 1 down, 2 to go. And we went for a real light patination because we wanted to sort of interpret the colours of a barn owl itself. So we went for a real light bronzy patina, and we went over with a darkish wax just to sort of tie in all of the ferric nitrates, the liver of sulphur, and then I went over, I lacquered, and I went over with a sort of dark wash, very light dark wash, and that really just accentuates all of the nooks and crannies. So you've got that lovely goldy brown that's coming through the tops, and then obviously in these dark recesses is the sort of liver of sulphur and the dark washes. And again, we've got the stainless plate on the bottom with the fixtures and fittings, and then our 40mm stainless box section subframe so it can be submerged in the ground. All in all, absolutely stunning piece. Really pleased we got it done. Dancing with half a bronze sculpture. Da-da-da-da. Da-da-da-da. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it. But the reason why I'm wrestling this thing to you is because this is kind of how it begins and looks. In order for us to get to this stage, it kind of needs to start at this stage. So as you can see, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 sections. We've welded each section together. We've kind of started fettling in this weld line here, and we've welded it to the base as well as that stainless armature I spoke to you about a minute ago. And then we've got the owl itself, which there's parts of an owl. So in order for us to cast this whole thing, we need to sort of allow for the ceramic shell to dry inside. So we obviously cut his head off in order for air to travel in and out the wings, so that cures lovely. And when we burn it out, there's no wet shell. So when we pour it, the thing doesn't actually burst. Because if you put wet shell on wet shell and you put it in the kiln, it may look strong, but you've got a severe, savage weak spot. And when you pour molten bronze into that wet shell, it just leaks. And then you've got to start all over again. You've then got to do the wax again. Then you've got to fettle the waxes. Then you've got to dip it in the ceramic shell. It's a long process. We want to get it right first time. And this is the result when it first comes out. And then the guys, it goes over to Brendan. He sandblasts it. And then Tyler, myself, and Brendan chase away. And we get it looking like the one you see in the door, nice and finished. So it's a long old process. It does get taken for granted, but we're here to show how great work is produced, and I'm just glad that we're able to facilitate it for sculptors, because there's not that many of us really in the country, and yeah, I'm just happy to be here, man. I'm working on this beautiful water feature by Robert James Workshop. It is the Mad Hatter and the Mad March Hare. And this is the early stages of assembly. We're actually making the urn itself that it sits in out of bronze as well. So that's the next thing to come along. But as you can see, you've got this copper pipe which basically runs through the whole sculpture and out the bottom of his foot here. Now, Tyler over there is polishing the teapot, which then goes onto his arm. So we'll then get the copper pipe that's inside of that teapot and we'll solder it to this copper pipe here and make sure it's nice and strong. And we'll push it all back into the housing and we'll weld the cufflink, or the cuff, sorry. We'll weld that on, nice and strong, polish him up. We'll then stick a pump on the bottom of that copper pipe down there and we'll test it. And what should happen, in theory, if there aren't any holes in the copper, water should obviously travel up through, out of the teapot, and then in this hand goes a polished teacup. Now, it sits on his hand like this. The teapot then spouts water into the cup, it then fills up the cup, drips down onto the saucer, and then down onto the dormouse. Now, we've got this beautiful polished dish, which sits there like that, okay? Over here, we've got the dormouse. This beautiful dormouse, which needs patinaing. He sits in here like so. And as water comes out the teapot, into the teacup, onto the dormouse's head, splashes down onto the dish, back into the water where back into the urn where the water is, and then it gets recycled and goes round and round and round. And the same with the hair. The copper pipe runs through the hat, up his leg, and out of his hand here, into this little teacup here. Little hole in the top of the teacup, like so. Then the cup gets welded to the hand. Water comes out onto the dish, back into the water. So it's quite a big old piece, quite a big old operation. It sits on this beautifully made aluminium frame, which was made outhouse. But yes, one more day of pure fettling, and then we are ready for patina, ladies and gents, and which will be an exciting day. You've got lovely colours, you've got lovely verdigris jackets, traditional bronze fur, polished areas, the highlights, All of this is lovely polished, like the dish down there. All in all, really lovely piece, a great seller, and just looks fantastic. So we're going to crack on. This is a piece by a sculptor called Richard Rochester, and this piece is a memorial piece. It's a small memorial in aid of a DJ that passed away, and the wife wanted something different to honour him, and she approached Richard and they came up with a funny idea of creating a manhole cover and the top being a record with his DJ name on it. And inside this manhole cover will be a hole, and inside that hole will be all the little trinkets and things that basically made him who he is. So we've still got one piece left to cast. This is a bear and two cats, and there's something else that's going to go in this hole. The piece actually is going to go into a random place in Dartmoor, which only the wife and the sculptor knows where it's going to be. It's going to have a lock where it can be sort of lifted up, locked away, so all these lovely bronze trinkets and sculptures can be put inside this big hole. And so, yeah, it's got a really exciting piece. So I'm just going to clean this up. We poured this section yesterday. We've cleaned up this section here. I'm going to clean this up, get it nice and flat, and then what we need to do is put a hinge mechanism inside of this piece so that the lid can lift up and down like so. And then we've got another section which these two pieces sit on, which then will be fixed to this drum, which will then be dug into the ground. So I'm really excited to see how this piece looks when it's finished, because it's something different to what we usually do. And so therefore I'm going to just clean it up, grind it back, and then show you what it looks like once I've got it to this stage.